Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast. 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Polares. The 49ers are waking up 4-0 this morning after defeating the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. It's the first time the team has started the season 4-0 since 2019. Lindsay, what are some of your initial reactions to yesterday's win?
It feels like I'm watching history. That's probably the best way to put it. A lot of big time performers, particularly on the 49ers offense, but the one that kind of rises above the rest is running back Christian McCaffrey. A 4 touchdown day for him, and then you look to the guy making sure, handing off the ball to him and throwing him some passes. Brock Purdy, nearly perfect with 20 of 21 pass completions. And then you go to Brandon Ayuk, who was the reception yards leader of the day. There's really so many big players on the 49ers offense. It was a really tremendous offensive performance against the Cardinals.
Yeah, San Francisco scored at least 30 points in each game so far. You can call that starting out strong, which was one of the team's goals entering the season. Can you explain why these wins are so important for the 49ers right now?
I think when you're able to stack wins like this, a team naturally gains momentum. And as you mentioned, the 49ers have been a little bit sluggish to start, particularly the last two seasons, and we've seen them heat up in the back half of the year, but that was not the case. The emphasis was to start 2023 hot. They absolutely have done that. They're firing on all cylinders, and particularly yesterday against the Arizona Cardinals, it really was the 49ers offense on display. We've seen a lot of great defensive highlights in very recent memory, but I do believe the offense stole the show yesterday.
And a win against a divisional opponent always feels good in the Niners' books, but there's a very special player who's responsible for scoring a lot of those points, and it's running back Christian McCaffrey. You mentioned him earlier. He scored 4 touchdowns on Sunday, 3 on the ground and 1 through the air, and he broke some records in doing so. Lindsay, can you describe just how big CMC's performance was yesterday?
Yeah, his performance was so huge that I had to write a halftime article for it. Christian McCaffrey set a new franchise record and actually overtook some 49ers history that Hall of Famer Jerry Rice owned. He was tied with Jerry Rice for 12 consecutive games with 1 or more touchdowns. And then yesterday, very early in the first quarter, he got the next touchdown. So now he's got a streak of 13 going on. Obviously, the scoring for Christian McCaffrey did not stop there. He had another 2 touchdowns on the ground and 1 through the air, like you mentioned. He is everything the 49ers wanted him to be and more. Really, the offense is running through him. All 4 of his touchdowns were red zone touchdowns. The only other touchdown scored was on a quarterback sneak by Brock Purdy. So just a huge congratulations to him. And it sort of feels like it's just one accolade after the other for Christian McCaffrey. Last week, he hit a 5,000 career rushing yard personal benchmark. This week, it is a new franchise record. Excited to see what comes in week 5.
Here's quarterback Brock Purdy on McCaffrey's performance against the Cardinals.
Yeah, he's a freak. He does everything for us, obviously. Can run the ball, can run routes out of the backfield, can line up as a receiver and run routes. He does everything, man. So we're thankful for him. He's a dog. He takes some hits. But, man, he just keeps going. And all you got to do is get the ball to that guy in space, and he does the rest. So very thankful to be playing for him or with him.
Yeah, the offense was truly at work against the Cardinals. They started off quick on Sunday and kept it up throughout the contest, scoring a touchdown on all 5 of their trips to the red zone. Quarterback Brock Purdy did a great job of keeping up the team's momentum with his accurate and a few notable deep passes. What did he look like this Sunday?
I think the best way to describe this is exactly what head coach Kyle Shanahan said is near perfect, because that's exactly the type of performance he put together. He didn't have his first and only incompletion, I should say, until the third quarter of yesterday's game. So 20 of 21 pass completions for 283 yards. a touchdown, a quarterback sneak, and a quarterback rating of 134.6. That is the third time this season he has recorded a quarterback passer rating over 100. He is on a roll. He continues to be undefeated in the regular season. 9 straight wins from him since he made his first career start in week 14 of the 2022 season. And again, it's sort of like Christian McCaffrey, just accolade after accomplishment. And the 49ers are just continuing to roll in 2023, particularly because of these two individuals.
Before this contest, he mentioned that he was working on those deep passes throughout practice, and he was really honing in on that. So what did his progress look like on the field against the Cardinals?
Yeah, you can tell that it absolutely was a point of emphasis for quarterback Brock Purdy. I think particularly, like you mentioned, in week 3, it was a topic of discussion, and he spoke about it in his Giants post-game presser. But he had a lot of deep throws, particularly to Brandon Ayuk. They connected on a 42-yard gain on the team's third touchdown scoring drive. Then he connected with him later on for 34 yards on a 78-play, 75-yard touchdown scoring drive for the 49ers. So certainly something he's working on in terms of timing and chemistry with his receivers, and you are seeing that materialize, not just on the field, but in game.
Here's head coach Kyle Shanahan on Purdy's performance against Arizona.
He was great. He was almost perfect. But I mean, that was a 3rd and 20-something anyways, but he was great. Hung in there, made some big throws. A lot of times that defense is real, they don't give you the big throws, so you kind of got to pick them apart, and he was very efficient at doing that. And when he had his opportunities for the big ones, he saw it right, made the right throws, and our guys came down with it.
And the team knew ahead of this contest that the Cardinals were not a team to underestimate. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said that they should have been 3-0 entering this contest with their very efficient offense. So how did the 49ers defense manage to keep them to just 16 points? What were some of the defense's highlights from this game?
Yeah, certainly, like you said, the 49ers aren't ones to underestimate any opponents. And when you've got an NFC West team coming to town, they're going to get special attention. And then you add on the fact that they had that big upset of the Dallas Cowboys in week 3. No one was expecting this to be an easy game. And the 49ers really prepared for a very skilled Arizona Cardinals team to come to Levi Stadium. Joshua Dobbs continues to improve. So he did get his rushing yards on the ground, I believe. 12 rushing attempts for him, 48 yards on the ground. But to hold any team to 16 points is a very impressive showing. I think of 2 particular plays when speaking about the defense yesterday. Javon Hargrave had a sack for a loss of 8 yards of quarterback Josh Dobbs, and that is his second straight game with a sack. And then I also think to safety Talanoa Hufanga, who came up with a big stop on the Cardinals' 2-point conversion attempt. So that kept them from getting even closer when the game, I do believe, I think that made the game 21-16. So at one point, this was a 5-point game. So a really critical play when the game was really a 1-score ordeal.
Here's Nick Bosa on the defense's performance against the Cardinals.
All week we gave them a ton of respect, and I think it was warranted. We knew they were going to fight. I think we did a really good job. There's some run game stuff that we need to iron out and be a little better with, but with the ops we got, I think we rushed well. I need to watch the tape. I feel like whenever a guy on our D-line gets a one-on-one and the quarterback's not getting rid of it quick, there's a good chance he's going down. And Javon's sack was perfect timing. He had the one-on-one. I think everybody else was doubled up. So the fact that we have guys who could win at a high clip when they get those chances, it's dangerous.
And now with a 4th win in the books for the 49ers, what does week 5 look like for the team as they set their focus to the Dallas Cowboys?
Week 5 is going to look like a typical week, other than the fact that week 5 matchup is going to be happening in prime time on Sunday Night Football. It will be the 49ers' second primetime game of the season They're going to have 3 more after week 5, but expect kind of the same for the 49ers in terms of practice schedule. They will have, I believe, some film review today. Tuesday's always a player's day off. And then we've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that the team will be practicing through. Saturdays are walkthroughs. And then Sunday night, it's time for the big game.
All right, well, that will do it for today. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me in this update. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in.